Hi. Oh, thank you. Today is my father's 70th birthday, actually. And I had this overwhelming sense of guilt because the thing I'm reading is not about him, and I thought, I should, and so I got his permission to not read about him today. And so I'm dedicating this to him, which just shows you how great a son I am. Something I had already written is just now dedicated to me. Okay. So I write about my life. If you've never seen me before, I write about things in my life, and people get the impression I'm unhappy. This is called We All Scream for Eye Cream. I used to live in the Midwest, and there is a farm culture there that fills the landscape with quaint Amish shops, gift shops, stuffed with handmade knickknacks that evoke the sensation of a warm summer in Indiana. A knitted pot holder, a wooden train set, a phone that you wind the handle to wake up the operator. That weird little game of a stick with a cup on the end that you try to flip a ball into. These are the images of a simpler time. Throughout my Indiana youth, I remember visiting these gift shops and always being most fascinated by the apple wreaths. Every store sold them. Apples would be sliced at the peak of red ripeness to deliver a rosy glow and dipped in glycerin to coat them in a pliable manner that preserved their youthful, vibrant state forever. Then hung on a circle on the wall for everyone to marvel at. You could touch the wreaths and feel the apple slices bend softly under your fingertips so that they almost felt alive. Their vibrant state captured perfectly as if they could be brought back at any moment. This was the thought I had as I placed the Rogaine foam onto my bald spot. It comes out of a can like Ready Whip topping, a meringue fertilizer for my barren scalp. I stare at myself in the mirror looking like a key lime pie and see the ghosts of dead Amish shaking their heads at me. I distrust their gaze, which says I should just dip my head in glycerin. There was a time when I did not think about preserving my state, back in those Indiana summers of my youth. My biggest concern was riding my big wheel as fast as I could. I'd pedal away as furiously as my legs would let me, turning the wheel hard at top speed, hoping to slide out like a true hot rod, all the while trying not to get the skin of my bare feet pinched in the pedals. Now when I look at my feet, it's to massage tonaftate cream between my toes. I use it to control athlete's foot. I used to purchase clotrimazole, but switched to tonaftate because it costs half as much, even though it takes twice as long to work. I know these are equivalent, but all decisions feel like victories when slowly losing control of your body. The further I get away from that Indiana childhood, the more creams I apply. It started with an antifungal trickle in my 20s. Then a dry skin slow pour a few years later. Now in my late 30s, an open faucet of new creams. I have added salicylic acid, clobetasol propionate, and desinide to the list. When I hit my 40s, I expect AARP to deliver a U-Haul of fantastical medications. An early adopter kit of some sort for the not quite retired or given up crowd. I apply salicylic acid each day to the bump my foot that my dermatologist said is a wart. Clobetasol propionate is for the eczema on my knuckle. Desinide for the eczema under my arms. The doctor informed me that none of these should mix. Eczema steroids are bad for athlete's foot. Acid is bad for anything but warts. And Rogaine will grow hair in all the wrong places if you let it. Using Rogaine is like having a son-in-law that you're only nice to because he's an auto mechanic. I am careful then never to mix anything. Apparently the wicker basket in my bathroom contains the Jet Sharks, Montagues, and Capulets. My boss told me the diet he's on cured his eczema, and maybe I can eliminate some of the creams to uncomplicate my life. This diet entails eating 0 complex sugars, meaning no table sugar and no grains. No popsicles, no candy, no soy, no wheat, no quinoa, no bread, no pasta, no beer, no pudding, no corn dogs, nothing. He doesn't know I once ate 6 corn dogs in a single sitting. If I uncomplicate, he means make the decision-making process easier, well then, yes, it would. There's no food left on this diet. That stick and ball toy Amish kids play with, I'd be eating it. So I chose the eczema medication instead. At what point did simple existing become so difficult? I used to run around in the sun and hang from trees eating cherries. This was my life. Today, eating a cherry will put me in the hospital. And instead of enjoying the sun whenever the weather is nice, I run for cover until I can put on sunblock. Because, of course, the sunblock I put on my face is different than the sunblock I put on the rest of me, because the face is far more sensitive to harsh chemicals and pH balance and all that crap. So I make sure not to mix protectants. One for my face and another for the rest of me. Between the 2 sunblocks, 2 eczema medications, Rogaine, antifungal, and wart removal treatment, and because none of these chemicals are allowed to mix, I wash my hands 7 times, applying everything, which means I have to end with lotion because my skin starts to crack. At the end of each daily routine, I am literally covered head to toe in creams, none of which can be combined. In my quest for a prolonging youth, I have become a walking death trap of poisons. Shake my hand and risk having to run your kidneys through dialysis. I wouldn't be surprised if the United States government declared my grave a Superfund site, requiring special federal spending to detoxify the soil. A late-night knock on the door with 2 G-men informing me that the president has determined it would be easier for the economy if I just didn't die. Cremation is out because burning minoxidil probably contributes to global warming. Instead, they suggest making me into a weapon. For any enemy that refuses to get in line, America could threaten to launch my corpse into their groundwater system. When I finally do keel over, the mortician will have no work to do. I'll already be preserved. His biggest task will be to find spiky tongs large enough to pick up my body. The endless layers of medications and preservatives makes me as easy to pick up as a greased bowling ball. I see myself squirting through the mortician's grasp and caroming through the halls of the funeral home, knocking over mourning families like so many bowling pins. But maybe all this work and complication is worth it. I have a friend using Botox that consistently dates people 15 years his junior. That's cool. Or look at Tom Cruise. At 50 years old, he's filming action movies. Wilford Brimley, when he was 50, filmed Cocoon. A movie about the elderly and trying not to die. Tom Cruise is 50, in incredible shape, very handsome, and wildly successful. He would ascribe his success, health, and beauty to being a Scientologist. Others would attribute it to being gay. I say, why choose? I'll superstack. And be a gay Scientologist who bathes himself in medicinal creams. By combining all these techniques, when I die, I'll look like I'm 4. Today, getting old doesn't have to mean the same thing it used to. Modern science keeps us youthful longer. I do not wish to die a curmudgeonly complaining about my back pain and wearing flip-up sunglass shades with cuffed and pleated Callaway golf shorts. I want to die with enough youthful appearance intact that someone half my age will begin to question their moral code when looking at me from across a poorly lit room. We can preserve more things today than before, just like we decided video games were more fun than that ball and stick thing. I will carry forth and not just allow myself to get old with no fight. It's possible that if I save the money I spend on preservatives, I could afford to be cryogenically frozen instead, awaiting a time in the future when the human body can be restored like a Da Vinci mural. Movie reviewer Scott Brown once wrote about the notion of giant, intelligent bees of the future sifting through our ashes and finding a crappy film like Alone in the Dark and viewing it as a document of our civilization. In 100 years, those sentient bees will probably awaken me just to explain the film before setting me off to work in the pollen fields. So cryogenics is out. I choose what I am now, a glycerin-coated apple wreath. Looking edible, but completely poisonous. I apologize now to whatever country angers America after my passing. I hope they can appreciate the quality of my skin as they keel over dead. Thank you.